What is it?
Of course, I'm not well up in these things, but...
But what?
No, you don't look any different to me.
What are you talking about?
The way you look.
Steve, as you well know, Sunday is my day for crossword puzzles. How should I look?
Desecrated.
Desecrated?
What was the name of that critic you didn't like?
Oh, I could easily remember the name of one I do like.
Yes, but it was a particularly nasty one.
Rowlandson?
Seen him recently?
No, we seldom see each other. When we do, we just nod frostily to each other through long-range binoculars.
I think he's gone to Scotland.
Look, Steve, why don't we wrap all this up in one neat little package, hmm?
Scottish newspaper. It covers the area I'm going to tomorrow. Read the item I marked.
Temple desecrated. That's neat.
Selective vandalism. Doesn't that make you feel important?
Just curious.
Well, the English have never been popular on the Scottish border.
Oh, I thought time had healed those ancient scars.
The local press have been on. They want to know whether you're going up to do anything about it.
Go up to Scotland? Whatever for? Brought a picnic lunch. What is it, a football match?
They're celebrating the Braw Lads gathering. A commemoration of the town's charter. They choose a Braw Lad and a Braw Lass every year to lead a procession through the town. It's charming, isn't it?
Well, it's very Scottish.
For the fishing, sir?
I may well be.
here?
I'm glad you talked me into coming here.
I did what?
Beautiful countryside, you know.
Twin set and pearls territory, don't you think?
Oh, I'll leave that to your own impeccable taste, darling.
And perhaps a deer stalker for you.
It's too obvious, isn't it? Telephone. Yes? Speaking. Yes, as you say, the desecrated temple. Who are you? Oh, well, if you won't say, you won't say. Maybe we should consider this conversation at an end, hmm? What? Where? No, I don't. I'll ask around.
It was very cryptic.
Somebody wants to meet me in a pub.
Somebody.
Too shy to leave his name.
How are you going to know him? Is he going to wear a tartan gardenia or something?
He says he'll find me.
That's the town crest.
Sour plums? Why?
Well, we caught these English soldiers picking wild plums one day.
What happened?
We killed them.
You're a wild lot around here.
That was 600 years ago. Mister,
Yes?
no hard feelings?
We'll overlook it this time.
A nice day.
Yes, it is indeed.
And what's your pleasure?
The wine of the country, perhaps, Mr. Temple. Elliot, Perry Elliot.
Hello?
Hello, and this is David Moffat.
How are you? You're the one who phoned, are you?
I'm the one who phoned. 2 whiskies, Bill. Make them loud ones.
Right.
Oh, your friend doesn't drink?
Very little. No.
Well, what do you do when you're not ordering big whiskies?
I'm the local newspaper.
All of it?
Pretty well.
His uncle owns it, of course.
Oh, well, that's nice. Saves you having to marry the boss's daughter, doesn't it?
2 loud whiskies. Thank you.
Oh, dear. You want,
No, David.
cheers.
Cheers.
You wrote that piece in the local paper, I take it?
Right. So? Well, it brought you running, didn't it?
Your friend write for the paper, too?
No, he just finds me amusing.
You know, I think you're overestimating 2 things here. 1, the power of the press, and 2, my vanity.
Your vanity never occurred to me, Mr. Temple. Your curiosity did.
I mean to say, somebody did break into the library and tear up your books.
Well, so what? In a way, that's a sort of upside-down compliment, isn't it?
And has nothing to do with the fact that you suddenly turn up here.
One of the mills up here has asked my wife to do some designing for them. I thought I'd come along with her. It's just for a break, that's all.
Mr. Temple, I don't believe you.
Mr. Elliot, neither do I.
Let's go through and have a seat.
Well.
Rugby's a kind of religion around here.
Oh, now that's what I call glory. Being drawn and hung in a pub.
Peary nearly played for Scotland.
Nearly?
4 years ago, he was picked to play against Wales. 3 nights before the match, he was hit by a drunken driver. It smashed up his leg good and proper. It was the end of rugby.
End of story.
Oh, dear. Well, what do you want of me, Elliot?
To be around while you look into this business of your books.
You want to play Dr. Watson to my Sherlock Holmes?
You could say that.
Well, what if I don't find out anything?
No, I could write about that, too.
Ah, with one of your inimitable headlines, eh? Like Temple Falls Down.
Oh.
Friend of yours?
I hate these long-haired, unwashed layabouts. If I had my way, I'd dip them and shear them like the bloody stupid sheep they are.
They're only doing their own thing.
Are they?
Hello there, Davy.
We don't want you in here, Jack.
I didn't read it in the newspapers. Didn't hear it over the radio. I mean about you taking over the world.
We don't want you in here.
Look, man, I've just been to Edinburgh. You know, like I'm just off the bus and I'm kind of hot and thirsty.
All right, well, away and be thirsty somewhere else.
David.
This is probably the creep that tore up your books, Mr. Temple.
Man, the last book I ever tore up was Rupert Bear.
Lousy jailbird.
Baby, do I threaten you that much?
Threaten me?
Right. Like you. And don't come back.
Sure, man, sure. Me with my apostle hair and my soft drink. And don't come back, eh?
Sorry, gentlemen. We try and keep these troublemakers out, but you know how it is. Sorry about that.
Oh, we're talking about this business of your books. Where do you propose to begin?
I think maybe you should lead me to the library.
A pleasure, Mr. Temple.
I'll manage.
Very great pleasure. You know, it's not often that we librarians have the privilege of meeting those whose brain children we foster.
I understand as far as my own particular brain children are concerned, somebody's recently indulged in a massacre of the innocent. Eh?
Oh, shocking business, Mr. Temple. Positively wicked.
Anything like it ever happened before?
Never. Absolutely never. I mean, we've had the usual thefts and once a small fire that was quickly brought under control, but never this barbarity.
And you've no suspicions?
None at all?
Have the police said anything to you, John?
Not a word, not a word. I mean, I regret to say this, Mr. Temple, but I don't think the police are taking this matter all too seriously. I mean, I have the highest regard for the gentlemen of the force, but one would hardly call them aesthetic.
Oh, I don't know. They have their own literary style, don't they?
Quite.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, Janice, what is it?
Well, I hope I'm not intruding.
Not at all, Janice.
It's just that I was putting some books back on the shelf when I found this inside one of them.
Now, that's what I call a grateful reader.
Thank you, Janice. Just leave this with me. Surprised you, Mr. Temple, the things people leave as bookmarks. I mean, other occasions we've had hairpins, books of stamps, nail files, and on one never-to-be-forgotten occasion, a slice of streaky bacon.
And on this occasion, it's a £5 note. I wonder if that's what our vandal was after. It isn't possible, is it, to find out the names of people who've borrowed my books recently, and to see if any of their names correspond with the borrower who left that note in the book?
Well, I'll ask Janice to let you know, Mr. Temple.
But maybe she could leave a message for me at the hotel, do you think? Well, we ought to, thank you very much for your help, Mr.
Thank
McGregor.
you. You're welcome.
Thank you. Goodbye.
So, someone was after that money. Is that the way you see it?
Well, the image is a bit blurred, but, yes, I'd say it was a possibility.
It's a bit drastic, isn't it? Ripping up a whole lot of books just because you can't find £5.
Perhaps £5 means a lot to someone.
Or perhaps that someone was hardly of a right mind to know what he was doing.
One over the H, you mean?
The whiskey's not the only way of getting stoned these days, is it, Mr. Temple?
That was a rather brittle little scene in the pub.
Jap, yes.
The narrowest generation gap I've ever encountered.
Yes.
Young Moffat's got a big thing about you.
He still thinks I've got 2 legs.
Doesn't it embarrass you?
Yeah, it does a bit.
What does he do apart from admiring you?
Doesn't have to do anything.
Oh, he's a wealthy layabout.
He's got all kinds of talents that never quite get together. He plays the piano well. He's a clever caricaturist, incredible mimic. Never seems to get it all together, though.
What about Jap? Is he local?
No, he's an incomer. Well, he's been here about 2 years.
Why does Moffat hate him so much?
Young Moffat has a sister.
Oh, and Jap done her wrong, eh?
Maybe that's the way David sees it.
How do you see
I
it?
don't.
What does Jap do?
Nothing. He lives in something they call a commune.
And gets stoned on other things besides whiskey?
Possibly. Well, they mostly do in communes, don't they?
My sewing machine, Jack.
It's burst again, has it?
Yeah.
I will take it upon myself to steal you a better one the next time.
Can you fix it, though?
Sure, baby, sure. Later, huh?
Well, how was Edinburgh?
Joe! We're history.
Mr. Temple, your wife's in the cocktail bar.
Oh, thank you. I'll join you there in a minute. Right. You're a fast man with the telephone.
Well, Mr. Elliot and I have a wee arrangement. When any celebrity signs in,
You tip him off.
Yes. Oh, Mr. Temple, there's a message for you.
Oh.
A telephone message. From Mr. McGregor from the library. He says he's traced the borrowers of those books, and one of the names does match up.
Yes, I'll just have the message. Thank you very much. Do remind me to buy you a keyhole for Christmas, won't you? Ah. Oh, darling, have you met...
Yes,
I've just been, thank you, having a word with your spy.
One of my spies.
Oh.
The receptionist. Had to be, hadn't it? Simple process of elimination.
Hey, you! How many times have I to tell you to stay out of here?
What harm am I doing?
Peddling that obscene handmade so-called magazine.
Jenny Moffat, local underground press.
Aye, underground. That's where the whole bloody lot should be. Underground.
Shut up.
Would you like to buy one?
What's it called?
Peace and Love.
Yes, fine. How much?
5 new pence. Peace and love for 5 new pence. The millennium has arrived. This is 50 new pence.
Oh, that's all right. Keep it.
5 new pence is all. Otherwise, it's something different, isn't it?
You're absolutely right. Excuse me. Break it? Thank you. Oh, here we are.
Thank you.
And I believe this is yours as well. It was left by somebody in a book on Zen Buddhism in the public library. The records show that the same borrower is a bit of a fan of my books, too. In fact, the records show you borrowed 3 of them in the last week.
Paul Temple?
Why don't you keep it?
Well, the money isn't mine. I don't know anything about it. Peace and love, Mr. Temple. And you don't get either of these without telling the truth, do you?
Peace and love! Peace and love! What's wrong with all you kids nowadays? Dope fiends, layabouts, spitting on everything worth a decent man's while. Next time you're passing the war memorial, just take a look at the names on that. There's your real underground.
I'm sorry for them. And I'm sorry for you.
Oh, you're sorry for us, all right. You and that boyfriend of yours.
Oh, you've said enough.
Six years in the army, fighting for trash like that. Maybe we need another war.
Well, I'll settle for another drink. See? Here.
No.
Thank you.
Used to be a nice girl, too, till she went away to university.
Moffat? Did you say her name is Moffat?
Jenny Moffat.
I've got an appointment tomorrow morning with a man called Gerald Moffat.
Aye, that's her father, poor soul.
Well, what a small world it always turns out to be.
Well, this is certainly a day to mark with a white stone, as the old Romans used to say. Does anyone read the classics nowadays?
We don't ever seem to make the bestseller list.
You know, my great-great-grandfather was hanged for breaking machinery. His son came to terms with it, and my grandfather became a fervent Victorian capitalist with high moral principles and the lowest wages in the borders. We've been in existence for more than 200 years, and recently it seems our product has begun to reflect our age. So I'm more delighted than I can say that you have decided to design for us and to extend our range.
I'll do my best to bridge the generation gap. Oh, I'm sorry, that was clumsy.
Clumsy?
I met your daughter yesterday.
How was she?
Very young.
It's a very difficult thing being a parent.
It's a very dangerous thing being a child.
I certainly seem to have failed dismally with my two.
Perhaps you asked too much.
Not consciously, but in a well-established family concern like this, one thinks subconsciously in terms of dynasties.
And your children didn't want to know?
Then when my marriage collapsed...
Forgive me, it's none of my
I don't mind talking about it. I go over and over it in my head. The trouble is, I come back to the same old circle. Have you met my son, David?
No, my husband has, I think.
A brilliant boy. If only he could find something to be brilliant about. He was all set to study law 3 years ago, looking forward to it keenly, he said. Then Jenny dropped out of university.
Was that when it all started going south?
Yes. Then she met this fellow called Jap. They've been together ever since, living in something called a commune.
What's he like?
Well, that's a question I cannot answer. I could say this and that, but it wouldn't add up to an answer. Simply a statement of prejudice.
You're a very fair-minded man.
No, it's just that something like Jap is totally alien to me. Alien to David, too. And somehow or another, I can accept it more easily. David loathes the very ground he walks on, the air he breathes.
Where did I go? What did I do? Nothing, baby, nothing.
Did you see anyone in town?
You mean like, did I see another bun? All right, then, I'll tell you. Yes, I did see another bun. Mm-hmm. And then another, and then another. Because the town is one great, big, bright, gaudy village.
You know, I don't mind, Jap.
And baby, you know that I don't mind if you don't mind. And equally, I don't mind even if you do mind. Hey, they tell me the Fuzz have got a new man in the local drug squad. Keen as a blade. In fact, he's in so many scenes. They're already calling him the discotheque. Can you imagine?
You didn't bring anything back with you, did you?
A wee bit of message.
I asked you not to, love.
Oh, you're always asking me things.
Jap, please.
Hey. How about dropping a wee bit of message?
Once was enough, Jap.
I suppose there are many ways of leaning on one's children. One can pull rank on them age-wise. I have tried never to do that. One can blackmail them emotionally. Not my style. And, of course, there is always the weapon of money. But in this case, that is irrelevant.
Jenny has money of her own.
Well, she did have until she spent it all on this commune. Nearly £2,000 on that rubbish.
The money's running out, Jap.
Like I should split with it.
Like you could be a bit more careful with it, maybe.
Don't spend it all on us.
Don't leave £5 notes in my library books.
I did not, baby, I did not.
Zen Buddhism, Jap. You were reading it, weren't you?
Oh, I read all your lousy books. It wasn't why. The money wasn't why. Oh, go to hell. It was only a crappy detective novel I ripped apart.
Did you tear up those books?
I had to. I lost the letter. The letter from Wilson.
Listen, Jap, go to the police.
Oh. Jenny, baby, you really are so stray, aren't you?
Put it away, Jap.
Look, baby, just because you had a bad trip doesn't make it universal, does it?
I didn't say that. Leave it, Jap. It'll kill you.
Kill me? Jenny, do you remember when the big thing happened? And that was no acid sea, wasn't it? Hmm? Well, it's Jap for the summer house. And a long, long trip. Oh, Jesus, those Chinese primroses when they start with your skull.
Do you believe in premonitions?
Implicitly.
Well, I wouldn't say that I was a particularly imaginative person. But ever since that commune started up, I have had a feeling, almost a certainty, that something horrible is going to happen there.
Long, long, happy trip.
Temple?
That's right.
My name's Sim Agnew. I'm a policeman.
Oh, can I buy you a drink?
No, thanks. Another tomato juice and I'll bust with vitamin C or whatever it is.
Well, I'd hate to be the cause of that. Have you any idea who tore my books?
Nothing we can prove.
I'm very discreet, you know.
Well, you could try a character called Jap. He's got plenty of form. Borstal and 3 charges of housebreaking.
Why on earth should he want to tear my books?
Drugs, maybe. He was seen near the library at the time, but I doubt if we can prove anything. Oh, by the way, I've got a message for you from Peary Elliott.
Oh, yes, I wondered why he hadn't turned up.
He's gone to see Jockey Wilson, one of the great characters in the district. Poacher, poet, everything. He's getting on a bit now and pretty frail, but he's still good for a dirty deed or two.
And it's quite a character himself, actually, isn't he?
Oh, man, you should have seen Peary Elliott before the accident. The most beautiful player he ever set eyes on. Sheer bloody poetry. He moved like a panther. And hands as safe as the Bank of England.
You know, I never heard the details of that accident.
Oh, well, Peary was out training. He was a bit of a fitness fanatic in his way, and he had these 2 youngsters with him, one 12 and the other 14.
Fans with him?
Oh, worshippers. As far as we can make out, they were jogging along the side of the main road when this car came swinging round. The driver must have been drunk, we reckon. Smash. The 2 kids were killed outright. And Peary lay unconscious in a ditch for 4 hours before he was found.
You never found the car?
No, we never did.
Where does Jenny Moffat fit into all this?
Well, you've heard about that, then?
Well, no, it's just an educated guess.
They made the bonniest couple you ever saw.
Were they ever engaged, anything like that?
Well, it was generally supposed that there was, to use an old-fashioned phrase, an understanding.
Then she went to university, got smashed up, and that was that, eh?
That was that.
Well, maybe she was just infatuated with the big athletic hero.
Well, if she was, she swung to the opposite extreme now.
Yeah?
She's living in a commune with our old friend Jap. Oh, and not another word, because here comes Peary Elliott. Oh, Peary?
Hello.
Hello, how was Jockey Wilson?
I don't think he'll last much longer.
I bet he was as gabby as ever.
Oh, yes. Very interesting.
Sad little story, really.
Well, it's happening all over the place.
Trouble with small places is that everybody knows too much about everybody else.
Or thinks they do.
Well, I suggest we forget the whole thing and go back to dear old impersonal London.
Oh, good. Can we do that? I thought you had some more business up here.
All done. Wrapped and sealed.
Fine. Well, we'll set off first thing in the morning. What's happened again? It's becoming habit-forming, isn't it? Yes, I'll be right along. Darling.
Don't tell me I have to unpack.
Our friendly neighborhood book molester is struck again.
This time it was quite arbitrary, Mr. Temple. Just any sort of books at all torn up, and all taken out by different borrowers.
Oh, well, at least that saves me from persecution, mania.
23 years a librarian, I've never come across anything like this.
Yes, if it goes on like this, you're going to end up in the waste paper business, aren't you?
If it goes on, I shall end up a complete shattered nervous wreck. Oh, excuse me.
Mr. McGregor, I've been hearing a lot about a commune that's somewhere near here.
Oh, well, we had a certain little unpleasantness with them. They wanted us to take the revolting little magazine, but I refused.
Can you tell me how to get to it?
Oh, yes. If you're going about the books, Mr. Temple, you'd better be quick, or the police will be there before you.
Oh, you've told them, have you?
Oh, I have that. I certainly have.
I want to see Jack.
Why?
It's a private matter.
We have no private life.
Yes, I'm sure that's true, but possibly not in the way you think.
Trouble?
Straight world is always trouble.
Well, I wouldn't argue with you there, but I want to see Jack.
You have bad vibrations.
Maybe you prefer vibrations from the police?
Police?
We don't like straight people in the house.
All right, then, think of me as the hunchback of Notre Dame. I still want to see Jack.
He isn't it?
Jenny Moffat, then?
Look, we just want to be left alone.
Yes, I understand and I respect that, but sometimes events don't. The public library was broken into last night. It's the second time in a very few days.
Why does it always have to be Jack?
Well, because he's got a record. A record of pointless break-ins, and the police have tidy minds.
He was with me all last night.
Yes, that's very loyal of you. But you see, the other members of the commune might not support you when the police start asking questions.
Why do you want to talk to him?
Because I don't think he did break into the library last night.
I'll take you to him.
Where is he?
He's meditating.
Oh. Cross legs and Zen Buddhism?
We go in for that here.
That's something I've never tried. My osteopath recommends against it.
Jap likes the conservatory because of the Chinese primroses. They turn him on.
Does anybody else ever go in there?
It's Jap's private sanctum. He hates being disturbed when he's there. I tried it once, but... Jap! 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 Jap!
Acid. LSD.
God help us. God help us all.
So your man found him hanging by the neck.
An elegant way of putting it.
Should have been strung up years ago.
And the greatest of these is charity.
I'll give you quote for quote. The evil that men do lives after them. God alone knows what he's done to that poor lassie.
One you ordered out of here yesterday.
But she wasn't always like that. She was once as nice a lass as you'd hope to meet in a long day's march. Well, maybe this'll bring her to her senses.
All it cost was a man's life.
What kind of a man was he? Suicide. The coward's way out. Wrong in the mind with drugs.
Give you a good alcoholic any day, what?
Well, at least you know where you are with them.
I'm going to order you a large brandy and refuse to take no for an ounce. How was it?
It was bad. The poor girl, she couldn't...
How is she now?
Oh, she's under sedation. Do they have inquests in Scotland?
No, it's all in the hands of somebody called the Procurator Fiscal.
What's bothering you, Paul?
Patterns that are too neat. It's just that if Jap was stoned to his eyeballs on drugs, where on earth did he get the strength and the stamina to tie himself to those beams?
What are you saying?
I'm saying I'd like you to drop me off in town. And then you go and talk to the girl.
Why did he do it?
I suppose only Jack knows that now.
Your husband bought peace and love from me yesterday. He must have bought my own personal stock as well.
Was it Jap who broke into the library and tore up my husband's books?
I don't know.
Jenny, I think you do know. Now, it won't hurt Jap now.
Do you think I don't know that? Do you think I don't know it? Yes. He did it.
He was looking for something he left accidentally in one of the books.
But it wasn't the money.
Something that might get him into trouble.
Never had a chance, really. First the orphanage, then Borstal and the police. They never let up.
What was this?
It all happened a long time ago.
How long?
A long time ago.
Was it Jack who broke into the library the second time?
No. He would have told me. He was very honest, you see. He never pretended. I'm very tired.
Anything I can do?
I'm glad it was you that told me all this.
I felt I had to. I knew it would come as a bit of a shock, but I felt it'd be less of a shock coming from me.
Yes, quite.
If it should come out, and it may very well come out, then at least you'll be prepared.
There is a certain moral issue that I should not...
Not these days.
No, perhaps not. I wish you'd let me come and see her.
It's all a bit raw at the moment. She's not thinking too clearly. Perhaps she's even ashamed.
What an incredible monster that chap was. And what a waste of 5 years.
Yeah, let's just regard it as the end of a phase.
Something wrong with your hand?
I got some kind of mild irritation.
Peary, you know that I'd always hoped that you and she...
Yes.
Can't we forget...
Look, I've got to go. There's someone I've got to see.
Peary,
Yes.
if you see David, ask him if he could come home. I need him. I need my family around
Now, Johnny. Drink, Mr. Tim.
No, thanks. No, I'm afraid I find nothing to celebrate.
No. He's dead.
He? You know, a remark like that could be misinterpreted.
What are you doing?
Your father wants to see you.
Oh, Father will just have to wait.
Now, David. I'm sorry I'm a bit late. I stopped by to talk to his father.
I imagine he was very upset.
Aye, but he's patient and philosophical.
Like you.
More so, he's had more practice.
Well, our Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Watson act doesn't seem to be working out too well, does it?
Oh, I don't think you're naturally a team man.
Sometimes I don't think you behave like a natural newspaper man.
You care to expand that a little?
It's just that here's all this happening and never once do you appear on the scene of the crime, so to speak.
I can get all the gory details I want from Agnew.
Oh, wouldn't be enough for most reporters. They like to sniff it out on their own.
You're thinking about the big time. I'm only local.
You're very modest.
Hey, Peary, you wanted on the phone.
No. Well, over here, Bill. News at your hotel. There's been another killing.
Another? Come on.
Jockey Wilson, a poor old man like that.
It doesn't take much to kill an old man.
How did it happen?
His neck was snapped.
Could it have been an accident?
Well, the doctor says no.
Jockey Wilson, the greatest poacher on Tweedside.
I must have been. We found 1,450 pounds hidden in a wardrobe. And one of these on the floor.
LSD.
Jap.
A born loser, Jap, wherever he went.
Damned old scoundrel.
Who are we talking about now?
Jockey Wilson.
You went to see him last night, didn't you?
Aye, I did.
Why?
I suppose it had to come out sometime.
No time like the present.
I got a message yesterday morning that Jockey wanted to see me. Very important indeed, so I went along.
Well, what did he want to see you about?
The accident 4 years ago, the accident that crippled me and killed those 2 kids.
Yes.
So it happened.
Well.
He was out poaching. He saw us running along, and then this car came. belting along and lurching all over the place. Next thing there we were in the ditch. About 100 yards down the road, the car drew into a side lane and stopped.
Did you see who was in it?
Jenny Moffat, Jap.
Who's driving?
Jap. They made a frantic attempt to wipe clean the front of the car, and then they drove off.
So Wilson must have been blackmailing them all these years.
Well, Agnew here found 1,450 reasons for thinking so. And then the money ran out, and he sent a threatening letter, and incredibly, Jap used it as a bookmark and had to break into the library to get it back.
You're talking about the first break-in, aren't you?
Yes, just close. I need a drink.
Me too. Paul?
In a minute, darling, in a minute.
Something on your mind, Mr. Temple?
Yes. Jockey Wilson. Has the time of his death been established yet?
Well, I imagine it's being done now. It's normal practice, you know. Why?
Could you find out? It might be important.
We'll find out now.
You see, I had to.
Well,
I think you'd better tell Paul.
Oh, he knows.
Knows what?
The second break-in was me, Mr. Temple.
You destroyed those?
Yeah, the second time, yes. I was trying to make the break-ins look like ordinary vandalism.
But why?
Well, to protect Jenny. If Agnew had found out why Jap did the first break-in, then Jenny would have lost Jap.
You love her very much, don't you?
Of course, she's the only girl in the world.
Maybe we should have a look at that letter. I take it Jenny has it now.
What's the point of that? I've already told you what it's about.
Yes, I know, but I don't think the inspector here has completed his investigation into Wilson's death yet, have you?
Not yet, no.
There's no need to disturb Jenny. Good Lord, man, hasn't she suffered enough already?
I'm sure she'll survive with you there to hold her hand. You any news, sir?
They'll be letting me know.
Right, we'll meet you at the common.
Paul, would you mind telling me what you're doing?
I think I'm beginning to see a little daylight. Come on.
Which room is she in, Peary?
This way.
See, go with them. Will you look after Jenny? Well, what now?
Move on.
Where to? And when?
As soon as we raise the bread,
How much do you need?
we'll raise it.
Would you consider taking a loan?
We don't take loans.
Oh, you are a hard lot to please, aren't you?
And don't cry, mister.
Chinese primroses.
What's that?
You've been in the conservatory, ain't you?
That's right.
Touch any of the plants?
No idea. I might have done.
Well, that's it then. Well, touching them plants, even accidental like, brings some people out in a rash. Jap used to laugh at it. Didn't have no effect on him. Used to make Jenny scratch for days.
There we are, then. Doesn't tell us anything new, I'm afraid.
Just that Wilson was blackmailing them.
Yes.
What about the time of Wilson's death? Do we know that yet?
He'd been dead for 24 hours by the time he was found.
Which would roughly coincide with the time that Jack was taking his trip.
Well, what are you getting at, Temple?
What's it like when you take a trip? I mean, when you're really high, apart from being beautiful. Come on, come on.
It's a good trip. Or a bad one. You never know.
Yes, but with the amount that Jack used to take, what would it do to you?
You'd be spaced out, man.
You'd be out, lost to the world.
Physically incapable?
Usually. But I don't know. I never took that much.
What are you getting at?
The name of the person who killed Wilson.
Jap did. We already know that.
Oh, no, Jack was on a trip. He was more or less physically incapable of doing anything, let alone the elaborate preparations for committing suicide by hanging himself. I really don't think he could manage it in his condition, do you?
How the hell should I know?
By the way, Peary, how's your hand? Is it still itchy? I seem to be suffering from the same complaint, but mine's been diagnosed now. Has yours?
Wish I knew what the hell you were talking about.
You and Jenny. What did you feel when Jack came on the scene and stole your girl?
It happens.
Oh, yes. And most men get over it. But not you. It ate deeper and deeper into your mind, didn't it? Jenny living with a dropout. Shut up. And then later on you found out from Wilson that Jack hadn't only stolen your girl, he'd stolen your glory as well. It was he who was driving the car when you had your accident.
I saw the speculation.
You killed Jack. And then you hanged him to make it look like suicide. You planted his LSD tablets where you were pretty certain we'd find them. All except for one. That one you planted near Wilson's body when you killed him.
You're guessing. You're making a complete bloody fool of yourself.
Yes, I might have been if it hadn't been for this itch on my hand, or should I say, our hands. I got mine from some plants in the conservatory. Where did you get yours, Peary?
He killed Jack!
You'd better get an ambulance. Get an ambulance. That's the story, then.
It's weird.
What are you going to do now, Jane?
Oh, get the commune going again, I suppose. I owe that to Jack, don't I?
I'm not sure you owe anything to anybody.
It's where you're wrong. You see, I was driving when we killed those children and crippled Elliot. Old Wilson got it wrong. I was drunk out of my skull. Jack wanted to drive, and I wouldn't let him. After the accident, he moved into the driving seat so that if anyone came along, he would take the blame. So I do owe Jack something, don't I? I think I want to go to sleep now.
Mm-hmm.